Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Lena and welcome to another video. Yes, we're sitting on the place of the new releases, so let's just get started. I'm going to change everything a bit this time. On the last video, Angela told me, or she gave me some advice of basically fragmenting the video between the different genres. And we're going to try that because why not? So first we're going to talk about YA fantasy, then we're going to talk about adult fantasy. I have like a brief middle grade mention, and then we're going to jump into sci-fi. So if I remember, the timestamps will be down below, but I won't promise anything. Let's just start with the 4th of August because there are so many things that came out that day. But the first one is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, which I'm not going to talk about. That's it. If you want to read it, then do it. I won't. Then we have Igniting Darkness by Robin LaFevers. This is book 2 in the Curtain Darkness duology. If this sounds familiar, it's probably because you have heard about the Grave Mercy trilogy, which is the previous trilogy to this duology. I read the first one, I didn't love it, but I really want to read this duology, so I don't know what I'm going to do. It's basically about this convent where nuns are trained to be assassins, and they basically worship death. So yeah, the premise is amazing, and it's also mostly historical fiction, but with some fantasy elements to it. Then we have a sequel. I have made the decision that I won't talk about sequels, I will only mention them a bit, because it's a bit of a spoiler thing, so we're keeping this really calm and brief as possible, if I tell you the truth. So, then, Court of Lions. This is book 2 in Mirage. I think that you have probably seen this cover from the first book, but yeah, the sequel is coming out this month. It has already come out, actually. I haven't read Mirage, but I'm actually kind of interested in it. I really like desert fantasy. Continuing the 4th, we have Prelude for Lost Souls, book 1 in the series with the same name by Helene Dunbar. This is basically about this town called Saint Hilaire. Yeah, everything that happens in here is controlled by this kind of group called the Guild. And the objective of one of these two main characters is actually to get inside the guild and to use his median powers. So yeah, it sounds pretty interesting and I love this cover. It's just so good. Then we also have Set Fire to the Gods by Sarah Rush and Kristen Simmons. This is basically a book about gladiators. So we follow two main characters. The first one is called Ash and she's in this path of revenge, trying to avenge her mother. And then we follow Maddox, who actually has these great superpowers, which, boy, I didn't tell you, there are elementalist gladiators, which is kind of super cool. So yeah, Maddox's powers are incredibly amazing. So basically Ash decides to recruit him for his rebellion. But yeah, elementalist gladiators, I mean, nice. I think I have talked about this book before because the release was pushed or something. This is Lobizona by Romina Garber. After Mana's surrogate grandmother is taken by ice, she discovers that she has this mystery in her family, and she also discovers this thing about her past related with this mysterious sea emblem. So yeah, there are werewolves in this. I can tell you that much, but yeah, it sounds great. I actually really want to read this one. Then moving to the 11th, we have Star Daughter by Sveta Vakar. I think that's how to say her name. I haven't found a way to pronounce it correctly, so I don't really know. In this YA fantasy that it's basically a blend, apparently, between Stardust and Hindu mythology. We follow Sheetal. She is the daughter of a star and human, but one day she actually hurts her father, and the only way to save him is with the help of a full star. So she goes into this quest and and find it. It sounds pretty interesting. Was actually nominated for the book club that I host, but we'll see if it actually wins. Then on the 18th of August, we have Raybearer by Jordan Ifueko. We follow Tarisai, and she is basically tasked with joining this council and with a secret mission that is basically to kill the crown prince. And she's assigned this mission basically with her mother. I don't know, I really like this type of book. I'm feeling that there's going to be a romance probably in there also, but who knows, it might actually be incredibly good. But yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this book for a while, and I'm pretty interested on it actually. Then another sequel, I'm just going to mention it. We have Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho, which is the continuation of Wicked Fox, and the series is called Gumiho. Yeah, Gumiho. Oh, it's actually a companion novel, not a direct sequel. It's a companion novel. Then the other sequel that is coming out is The Faithless Hawk by Margaret Owen. This is book 2 in the Merciful Crow series. These covers for this are amazing. I have read the first book. I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. And that's it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series. I'll probably check the reviews and see if something changes. But yeah, the world was fairly interesting though. And then the last book for the YA fantasy category is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. I have talked already about this book on my most anticipated releases for this year video. But yeah, it's basically about a magical circus where magicians start to disappear. It sounds great, and the cover is so good. It's so good. Then let's go with the adult fantasy. And on the 1st of August, actually a sequel came out. It's called Ash and Bones, and it's book 2 in the City of Sacrifice by Michael R. Fletcher, which I own 2 books by. And I actually bought the first book in this series this week because I didn't know about it, and it sounds so good. But yeah, it's about gods, and that's always something so cool. Then on the 4th, I think that I have never talked about this series in this channel, which is weird because it's one of my favorites. I remember it, so good. Have you ever heard about is it called in English this time? I don't know. If it doesn't, I will put the name right here. But Nocturna by Guillermo del Toro. Toro? See that English accent there? Guillermo del Toro and Jack Hogan. There's The Strain. That's how it's called in English. Yes, I love that series so much. It's just, it's so good. But apparently they are coming out with another book called The Hollow Ones, and I don't need to know anything about it because I'm 100% going to buy it because I love that trilogy so much. But yeah, this is more of a horror mixed with fantasy, you know. But yeah, we follow some agents from the FBI. Some really violent murders start to happen, and basically one of the agents becomes extremely violent overnight, and you know, things might have happened. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. The less you know about this kind of horror books, the better, because horror is very easy to spoil, same with mysteries. Then let's go into the 6th of August. We have another sequel. This is the Boundless by Peter Newman. This is book 3 in the Deathless trilogy. I completely thought this was going to be a duology. Don't know why. I really don't know why, but I thought it was a duology. I have read the first book in the series. I pretty much enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect, but it was also really enjoyable. And it has like monsters in the world, and that's something that I really, really enjoy. But yeah, the concept of the first book is great. Then I'm just going to quickly mention this one. Also, this is The Lost City of Ithos by John Bierce. This is the 4th book in the Mage Errant, and I'm trying to read this series, so I won't read the summary because I have the first book on my to read list, so not going to happen. But I'm letting you know either way. Just in case you're interested, the first book is called Into the Labyrinth. And I've also seen the first one sometimes categorized as young adult, I think it's adult, but don't quote me 100% on that. Then another continuation, we have Drowned Country by Emily Tesh. This is the final book in the Green Hollow duology. Yeah. Which is coming out on the 18th. Did I say that? I think that I didn't say that. But it's coming out on the 18th. Also, more sequels. How to Rule an Empire and Get Away with It by K.G. Parker, Book 2 in the Siege. I'm actually currently reading the first book. Give me a second. It's right here. The first book is 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City. This is mostly a political machination, more of a strategy type of fantasy, which you know that I love. So yeah, I need to start this book tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Then, jumping on the 25th of August, we have City Under the Stars by Gardner Dozois and Michael Swanwick. This is kind of a blend between fantasy and science fiction. So this is based on the concept that we are set in this kind of more dystopian Earth, where we have this wall that apparently separates like more humans from God, and this guy is being drawn to the wall and is trying to get past the wall. I don't know, it sounds like a really good concept. I just like religion and fantasy so much. Then we also have Ink and Sigil by Kevin Hart. This is actually the first book in the series. In this one we follow Al, and he has the power to use magical ink to protect the world of Fae, basically. But he's also cursed. Everyone who hears his voice is kind of forced to start hating him. But yeah, that's an interesting curse. But that's not the only thing. The important thing comes when actually his student ends up murdered, and he starts to investigate what basically happened. But yeah, I'm really curious about this one, and the book itself, it's so beautiful. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. But yeah, I'm just so interested in this. I've been trying to read some urban fantasy lately. I don't know why, but I'm feeling urban fantasy. I want urban fantasy. If you have good urban fantasy recommendations, please let me know. Then another continuation, we have The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. This is book 3 in the Curse of Dragons, and I thought that this was going to be the last book. But no, it's actually going to be a pentatology. Is that how you call it in English? Well, it's going to be 5 books. I love this series. It's one of my favorites. It's out up there. Well, you cannot see it. You cannot see it from here. Yeah, but it's up there because I have already pre-ordered this book, obviously. And also, I'm reading it because I have the arc for it and I need to do a review before it comes out. But yeah, I'm just super excited for this series. I like it so much. It's so unnecessarily convoluted, yes, but it's fantastic either way. And then, the only thing that I know about this book is this first sentence, because I don't want to know more. I'm 100% going to read it. This is The Mortal Blade by Christopher by Christopher Mitchell, and the first sentence is: a city ruled by gods, a moral champion, a misfit girl, and a disobedient dragon. And I mean, it has gods and dragons. It's perfect. That's going to be all for the adult fantasy. I want to quickly mention another book into the fantasy category, but it's actually a middle grade, and I'm going to say it because it's by Ignacio Corafor, which I'm trying to enjoy some of her works. I have Binti somewhere there, it's here. I just wanted to let you know that she's coming out with a middle grade, in case you're interested. I don't usually read middle grade, but just in case. Then let's jump into the sci-fi. I have many sci-fis actually. I didn't separate YA sci-fi from adult sci-fi because it's actually a pretty thin line sometimes, so I just didn't. But the first book that we're going to talk about is actually a sequel, and it's Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. The first book is Gideon the Ninth, which is somewhere there in that thing. Yeah, I made a tower. I'm in a tower of books because I'm just so bored lately. Then we also have Seven Devils by Laura Lam and Elizabeth May. This is actually considered YA science fiction, just letting you know. But in this one, we follow 7 different characters trying to defeat this evil empire that has taken over the galaxy. And for what I know, this has amazing representation. I actually think that there's even a trans character, if I tell you the truth. I've seen a list on Twitter, but it's not on the Goodreads summary. But yeah, apparently it has all types of representations, so I would highly recommend it. Then I want to quickly mention this book because it's not technically science fiction, but it's about a theme of science fiction, if that makes any sense. This is called It Came From the Sky by Chelsea Sedotti, and this is about an alien invasion that didn't happen, and everyone's kind of keeping this secret about it. So yeah, I kind of really wanted to mention it. I think that it might be actually a really fun book. So I'm pretty curious about it. But yeah, I don't know much. That's the only thing that I know. Oh, well, that I'm interested on, basically. But yeah. And we have another zombie book, thank God. This is The Living Dead. And it was basically started by George A. Romero. If you have never heard of it, well, he's basically the first director to record a zombie movie, I think. But yeah, he's a legendary director in the horror department. Does that make any sense? But yeah, and he was writing this novella when he passed away. It was a couple of years ago, actually. But apparently Daniel Krauss decided to finish the novel, so I'm really excited for it. I really like George A. Romero films. Not all of them. Some of them are really just too weird for me. But overall, I really like them, so I'm just super excited to read this one. Then we have a book that I'm really, really excited about. This is The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, and basically it's about the notion that you can travel between universes, but only if you from that alternative universe is dead. So we are going to follow Kara, and she discovers that she's actually dead in most of the universe. So she is one of the only ones that can actually travel to most of them. But when some of the other Karas died in the really suspicious circumstances, she starts to figure it out, well, perhaps someone is actually trying to kill me. But yeah, it sounds so good. I pre-ordered this one. It's coming my way because I ordered it from Book Depository and it always takes a while. But yeah, it's so good. And then another book that I'm super excited about. This is The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. So in this one, we are going to follow 2 different characters. The first one is the first sister, which has no name or no voice. She is actually tasked with spying Captain Wren, but she actually starts to fall in love with Captain Wren. And then we're also going to follow Little Lucius. Thought his partner was dead, but actually Hero just became a traitor to the cause, and he decides to hunt him down and kill him. And yeah, redemption, dude. But yeah, I'm just so excited for this one. I really hope that I can read it the next month at least, because this month I'm just such in a slump again. Then we have kind of a more mystery science fiction. I love mystery science fiction. This is called A Space Station Down by Ben Bobba and Doug Benson. So basically in this one, a space kind of tourism is a thing, and they have the station where everyone goes there. But one day, one of the tourists decides to kill everyone on board, and he threatens to actually crash the space station into New York. So yeah, it sounds so fun. Then we have another book that is called Mirage. That is actually a sequel to Web Shifters Library. That's such a hard word. By Julie Czerneda. Depending on the language, it's said differently. I won't tell you much. I've been seeing this series around. a bit since last year, so I'm kind of excited for it, but I don't want to read this summary because I don't want to spoil myself for the first book. But it's basically about shapeshifters, which is a trope that doesn't show up that much actually. Then continuing on the 11th, we also have another sequel. This is the Tyrant Cormorant. Is that how you say it? Cormorant? It's book 3 in the Masquerade. I'm sure that you have heard about this series by Seth Dickinson. But yeah, just letting you know that the 3rd book is coming out this month. And then on the 18th of August, we have The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is a book that I'm really excited about because I actually really like Adrian Tchaikovsky. I think that Children of Time is brilliant. I have also just ordered Children of Ruin, so I'm really excited. But The Doors of Eden is basically about this of friends that did this excursion and discovered a door that leads to apparently another kind of universe where monsters are entering our Earth. I love it. I think that is going to be so good. And the last book that I want to talk about is coming out on the 25th of August. Is called The Nemesis, and it's book 3 in the Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. I think that this is actually a pretty well-known series, and it's also sci-fi, but I have started the first book, but I never finished it. If you have read this series, let me know if I actually should finish it. Why can't I keep saying the same sentence over and over again? I don't know, and I keep staring at my screen there. Those were basically all the new releases for August. I know that this book is what a day. This video is coming out pretty late on the month, but I've been extremely busy and I haven't really been feeling like recording, if I'm being honest. But yeah, let me know which one of these books you are really dying to read, and put it down in the comments so we can chat about it. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!